Folks, there's an article that just came out at Yahoo today, October 26th, by Ari Rabinovich, and the title is exclusive. Casino mogul Adelson says no certainty over Las Vegas stadium for NFL's Raiders. It should be like Oakland Raiders. But if it said Oakland Raiders, the traffic for the article they wrote would be even greater, but I digress. Casino mogul Sheldon Adelson said he is prepared to walk away from a deal to build a stadium that would help relocate the National Football League's Oakland Raiders to Las Vegas if terms offered by the team do not improve. This is major because I told an NFL official last week that the Raiders have always wanted to own their own stadium. In fact, and I go back to the original master lease agreement. In fact, according to Monty Poole, who wrote for the Oakland Tribune back then in 1995, I'm the person who broke the story of the Raiders' return to Oakland from Los Angeles, but I digress. What the Raiders wanted and got in the original master lease agreement, you would say, what's a master lease agreement, Zinni? That is a lease, just like a lease you sign for an apartment complex or condominium, or lease terms for a car. The bottom line is, the lease that they signed, they being the Oakland Raiders under Amy Trask, called for the Raiders originally to own 51% of the stadium. But when the PSLs didn't sell out as well as they thought they were going to, netting only about $56 million as opposed to $83 million, which was the revenue hurdle rate that was required to begin adequate bond payoffs annually, then the debt collection arrow turned to the city of Oakland and the county of Alameda collectively. And so, among others, Ignacio De La Fuente, who is the chairman of the Oakland Alameda County Joint Powers Authority and also the president of the Oakland City Council, said, well, it's our money now. And so the entire lease agreement was changed so that the Joint Powers Authority and the city and the county, what we call the East Bay entities legally, were the primary owners, the majority owners of the Coliseum. But the Raiders have always desired to, as one NFL official put it to me, control their own destiny. They would not have been able to do that and would not be able to do that under the terms that were described for the months that the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Committee was meeting. I kept telling to anybody who even wouldn't listen that the Raiders were not getting what they really thought they wanted, okay, at all. Now, here's the way the rest of this fleshes out. It says, Adelsons is telling the reporter, I negotiated to bring in the Oakland Raiders, an NFL football team from Oakland, because they don't have a stadium there. Well, and that I would build the stadium and rent it out to the Oakland Raiders. Adelson said on Wednesday during a travel technology conference in Tel Aviv. So he's at a conference saying this, which means, hey, this may be somewhere around the internet, the video of this, so gotta go hunting, right? Adelson, who succeeded this month in getting legislation passed to enable the construction of the stadium, said his problems now involve negotiations with the Raiders. They want so much, Adelson said. So I told my people, tell them I could live with the deal. I could live without the deal. Here's the way it's going to go down. If they don't want it, bye-bye. The simple fact that Sheldon Adelson said this publicly is hilarious. And it points to how really flimsy this negotiation is and how ridiculous it was for the Nevada legislature to go through what it went through to begin with. They could have gotten a better deal for the Las Vegas Convention Center. In fact, it still may come out that way, and they probably knew it anyway, without going through the whole lobbyist strong-arming and promises and violations of conflict of interest that were basically covered up by a stroke of a pen, another story. They could have gone, they could have been saved all of that by Las Vegas Sands just simply not doing the deal or negotiating the terms with the Raiders in writing beforehand, but they didn't do that. So now the Raiders, knowing that the NFL is probably going to botch this anyway, or not botch it, but I mean, not botch it, but slam it anyway, the owners are probably saying, you know what, let's get as much as we possibly can. So Adelson, it goes on to say that Adelson's comments signal potential discord between the billionaire and the team. Potential discord? potential? Wow. At a time when momentum to build the stadium has been growing. Okay, and then it goes on to talk about Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval signing the bill to approve what was called SB1. As you know, the Senate bill that included, among other things, a $750 million public subsidy that would go to building an NFL stadium ostensibly for the Raiders. And it goes on to say that the article does. Adelson did not comment on any of the financial details, and a representative for the tycoon declined to elaborate on their remarks on Wednesday. Adelson, who is chief executive of gambling giant Las Vegas Sands Corporation, has pledged up to $650 million toward building the stadium, with the remainder coming from the Raiders and the National Football League. That is not correct, because the NFL has not pledged to put anything into it. That $500 million that the Raiders said they're going to put in would consist in part of what Mark thinks he would get from the NFL in terms of being able to use the loan for relocation to another stadium. The NFL is not slated to put any equity into this deal, and Majestic has walked, taking the $150 million that they were originally going to put in away. No one answered the question of how that was going to be replaced. Just a cleanup matter there, okay? And it says the Raiders' relocation is not certain, even if Adelson and the team agree to terms. Any move would, as you know, require approval of 3/4 of the NFL franchise owners, all right? So it says a spokesman for the Raiders did not return a request for comment. A representative for Governor Sandoval also did not reply to requests for comment, and that is it. I mean, there's only 2 comments on this about, there you go. I've got to find that video. This is huge. That deal's falling apart fast.